What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Team Generations, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, somebody who actually just crossed the 500 sub mark, Devlin Cassidy over here. Devlin, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, what's up, YouTube? And what's up, Team Generation viewers? My name's Devlin Cassidy, aka the Scholar, and I hail from Team Kingslayer Cards. And I can't wait to talk about a very, very cool topic today with Alex.
Yeah. No, we've been in contact for a little bit now, and Devlin's really ramping up the YouTube channel, so we've been in communication a little bit more, and obviously him being part of two pretty big teams over the past couple months and such, I just figured I would pick his brain and kind of give my own thoughts on the subject of just in general, what is like a Vanguard team? What does it mean? What does it do for you? And what you do for it? So a very general topic. I don't think where this is going to be super structured. It's going to be a very like organic kind of conversation, but I think it is important because it does mean a lot to me, and I think it means a lot to him as well. Obviously, just joining Kingslayer over there. Any initial thoughts you want to start with before we hop in?
No, I just think that if you have the ability either to join like an organized team already, like if they reach out to you and want you on, or you're able to like sit down with some friends and start like join like a very organic team saying like, hey, I want to lock in, I want to get some tops. It's a very rewarding experience for all the sides and fronts I've been on over my, I guess I'd say like 4-year competitive career. So I just can't wait to keep on pushing on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great kind of starting point, just speaking about like the organic team. That's kind of what we are. It's kind of difficult to put it into a nutshell because we are a little bit large in terms of like what we are in the area. But it really just started out with like me and a couple other people who had a team previously. There's about 5 other people who kind of, you know, are in like the, I guess like the head positions, whatever you want to call it. There's no like label or anything like that, but kind of make decisions for the larger team. And we just started off as like a group of friends. We wanted to get better. We wanted to just put a label on it, so to speak, and it kind of became like that. You start to attract other people, and I feel like us being organic or whatever you want to call it, it's kind of just morphed into, you know, some of us are super competitive, some of us like it's more of a social kind of thing. Other people too, like me, I do content and stuff, so you kind of take what you want from it. But that's our team. I know your team is a little bit different in general. Obviously, super competitive. People know Kingslayer cards. Why don't you talk a little bit about your structure, I guess, and how you guys kind of started, or how you
Right,
got
so
on it?
absolutely. So yeah, I can speak kind of on a bunch of different fronts in terms of Kingslayer. So Richard Garcia, the CEO of Kingslayer Cards, formed the team back in, was it 2020? I think it was 2020 or 2021, like January 2021 officially. And so that was very cool because I got loosely associated with the brand when I met Richard back in December of 2019. So like it was pretty good throughout, and I was able to really foster a friendship with him. And he always like wanted to like to do the whole card store and do the whole team thing. And when he made the team, a lot of my close friends that I've gotten really close to down in Florida were originally on it. And I kind of made it like a personal goal for myself. I was like, I want to get on that so that way like I can go like with my best friends and everything, because like again, those guys are like family to me. So being able to get on the team and play with like some of your friends, I feel is like really a big part. But
Yeah,
then also having kind of that aspect of where you have a store behind you is very big. So like, you know, Richard is now like very open with us with like getting the splits and everything. Like access to cards is important too. So that way we can stay at the
yeah,
top of our A game, like test appropriately and everything. Like it's truly a godsend. But in terms of like the structure of the team, so we really don't have a team leader. A lot of our players are very, very seasoned. I'm the baby of the group with like
hmm
the shortest rap sheet on the planet. But it's good because it's a really good environment where like for being around the true Vanguard boomers that have played competitively for a long time is like they really foster growth
yeah,
and everything like that. So that's been very helpful. So we don't really necessarily have a team leader. We all very respect each other, like all around as like global like players and everything. Because we have a couple of our guys that went to Worlds last year, and Andrew and Crow. So shout out to them. They played their
yeah,
tail off with Crow locking up third place in the world for V Premium,
yeah, absolutely.
and like Andrew just bubbled out 10th for the world and for Premium playing Luard Geese. So he was playing Spice, but essentially, yeah, I mean, we just like look at each other like respective. Like we kind of look as like Richard, I guess, as truly our leader because he's the guy that started it. He's the guy that like runs it. And he's the guy that
Yeah,
provides this for us and really makes us like the family that we are. But kind of being able to speak on to you of kind of how like I got associated with KSC
yeah. Walk us
was
through that.
so my teammate Crow, now, back in December, made one of his smaller, like what you would call like an organic team of Team's Crow's Nest. And so I was on a flight actually like back home to Cincinnati, and I was like just landed in Cincinnati, and he texted me. He's like, "Hey, I got a question for you. I'm building a team, and I have like a last roster spot. Do you want to be on it?" I was like originally I didn't know, because I'm a big thing about like a guy of like commitment and not want to let people down. And since like that team was going to be based out of Georgia, me living like in Northern Kentucky, I was like, the time commitment and everything, like I just don't know. And I ended up accepting, because I'm like, hey, this is something I have wanted for a long time. Like I have wanted to be associated with the team, because this was like at the start of kind of when I was getting a little bit of traction in the YouTube space. So I did that. Unfortunately, I only got to participate in BRO under Crow's Nest because my plans to go to BSF Chicago kind of fell through. So that was kind of unfortunate, but I got top 32 for V Premium, so can't scuff about that. But essentially, that was like a group of like 8 guys that like played their tail off. Those guys too have like pretty good experience on I guess what you could call like the semi-pro level. So like they have KSC tops and like other event tops, and then actually like one of our teams from that actually took the whole entire event in Chicago. So like again, so like these like I've been very fortunate for my network to have very, very skilled players in all of my contacts. So essentially though, of like 3-4 weeks ago, Richard and James called me. James is the team manager, and they said so essentially we talked as a team. Crow was ecstatic and said yes, and so we are bringing you from the minor leagues to the major leagues. And so they reached out to me again and did and moved me up to Kingslayer. So I'm so excited to be able to go to my first Kingslayer event in a while under the Kingslayer banner, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Super good, for sure. I think you touched on like a ton of topics, and just to like backtrack a little bit, I know I use the word like leader or whatever, but I mean that's like super loose. I feel like when you're in this, it's not a professional organization, so to speak. There's no like leader who's going to tell you what to do. I'm not anyone's boss or anything like that. But I think just helping provide a little bit of like structure, a little bit of direction is always good. And that's what I mean by like leader. But yeah, what you were saying in terms of just getting called up, I guess, to like the majors. Obviously, that was like an established brand. That's like an established team. I think it's like super important to look at yourself. And I know you ask yourself that question and be like, all right, what do I want out of this? What do I think I'm a good fit, and so on and so forth. And I feel like, everybody has to kind of ask themselves that when you're looking to quote unquote start a team. What is the team about? What is it going to do for you? Like, what are your goals with it? That's like insanely important to just ask yourself and like realize. And like sometimes you can start out as something. I feel like we started out very casual, just very social, and like we ended up getting we have players that literally top every single event. Like we're not like very well known or anything like that. I'm not trying to brag or anything like that, but I'm saying we cultivated into like, that important think tank, and you have to be around players that kind of want that. But if that's not what you want to, like you could totally have, I know there are other like teams or whatever that just, they want that social aspect of it. What else? What were the other kind of topics that we were discussing over here? We were mentioning to just, I think the burnout aspect, or like I wouldn't be playing if not for. I think me personally, that's actually really huge. I kind of got like shown Vanguard by somebody who's like one of my teammates right now, and they really kept me in the game. And the fact that I could bounce between a couple different formats with them, I can like, sometimes I really want to grind the game. I'll play with a certain group of people. If I really want to just take it easy, lay back, just practice, the basics again, there's another group. So without that, if I was playing solo and I just had to play on like Cardfight area, or had to kind of just find randoms just to play on like remote fight and stuff, it would not be the same. Definitely not. So walk me through your experience with like how that kind of kept you in the game.
All right, so I know I did a video on this on my channel, but I'm gonna jump like way back to the beginning. So my cousin who got me into Yu-Gi-Oh! And like essentially like my nerd era fit,
I know this video,
Zach, essentially showed me Vanguard, and I essentially made like a cluster pile of cards of art I thought was good, because that was how like my like 8-year-old brain worked at the time. So it's been pretty interesting. But I kind of like picked up on the game a little bit. I was always kind of like would only play when I'd go down to Florida to see all of my family and see him and stuff. So I wasn't really ever like strongly connected to the game until like G era, but I always had that association because he'd had some like friends he'd always play with. So then like I was like, oh yeah, like can we go to locals and like I play and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. I'm like I get sacked or whatever because like I just don't know what I'm doing, but or just get completely like skill
Right.
gapped and it's okay. But I had fun and it was just like okay, like cool, like this card game's fun. Like I don't know, it's just something like very different versus like the whole scenes such as that. And then like I took a step away from the game. I was playing like a lot of like modern Magic and stuff because I was in Boy
Mhm.
Scouts and things like that. And so like I was like, yeah, I really never spend my money on like a game I'm going to play more often. And
Yeah.
then I got back into it like at the end of G. I was playing ZTB and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, cool. Like this is fun again. And then they did the reboot, and I stopped, and I was able like to pick it back up again. But definitely when I went to my first, like I guess like for my terms, my first regional for when I met Richard and was able to get the top 8 in that event, that was like really what sparked like my interest. It was at the time where Andrew Kondrick was just signed to Triple C TCG, so like everyone at that event was like congratulating him and stuff. Like it was like really really cool, and everything like that was like getting set up and it was popping off. And like he took me under his wing, like he didn't even know me, as he like only knew me as Zach's cousin, and he was able like to kind of like take me under his wing. He'd be like, okay, yeah, like well, like here, like you need to play with more confidence because I already knew like some things about it. So like he was already giving me pointers like before the event, like when he even went in. So like that was something I admired, and then was able to get a lot of like close with the guys who are like are on KSC now, like at that event. So that was like how I kind of like prevented burnout. So like because me
Yeah.
being farther away, I just wanted to grind. So I'd be like, yo, I just want really good games like when I go back down there again. And it's not a knock to anybody from the Cincinnati community or anything. Like, well, when I go to locals,
Yeah.
I have a good time. But definitely my stronger connection with the game is from the southern, like the Georgia and Florida communities, just because like I don't know, like we just kind of like really hit it off different. We have like really good games, but I'm very appreciative of like everyone I've met through Vanguard, and definitely it's good to like relax and have like more for fun games when I'm back home in the Cincy area. But like it's on and it's go time, and it's like when I want to play my best Vanguard when I go down south for sure.
Yeah, being part of the team and like being like cultivated and just like taught the game, kind of mentored to the point where like you can start mentoring other people. That's like really what a large part of it is about. Like it's such a support system. And going to my first regionals, I was like, I did the same thing. I played Yu-Gi-Oh before. I think I went to a shop challenge. It was like my first locals I ever went to for Vanguard, and like I got top 4, and I was like, wow, this is great. I'm gonna go to the regionals, and like I went, and I did all right. I think it was like X4 or something, like just having fun. But like just the support system of those people being there, and like we weren't even like a team at that time, but just that support system, those like tips, those tricks, everything, and like being able to grind those games. Vanguard is like such a game of muscle memory almost. Like you start to learn patterns, things of that nature. Like the more you play, I feel like just the better you get, and like having that environment to kind of do that in competitively, B in like a training mode, whatever it may be, is like super super important. It's really like invaluable. I'm not saying like solo players can't get that. Like obviously there's incredible solo players everywhere. Like top 8s aren't made up of team players only, but just for certain individuals, I feel like it really does stand out. And like the team experience is something that I feel like more people should try. And like I personally would love to see like more kind of like teams, brands, things like that. Like I know what is it in New York? There's like Heal on 6. They're relatively new. They have a YouTube channel. They make all different type of content. But I feel like New York is starting to like create their teams and whatnot. So it's good to see some sense of like community throughout like Long Island, New York. But yeah, that's really all like I think I have on my side for right now. What other topics did we talk about? I'm trying to remember. Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. So like for you, because like my time with like an organic team was kind of like short lived. What do you think is kind of the best part about just sitting down with like a group of your friends and being like, hey, let's put like a label to ourselves? Like how did that whole idea come about?
So there was like a group of like 4 people who played way prior to me. I only jumped in. I think it was like 2018 I started playing. 2018, early 2019. I forgot the actual date, but I was started in V era actually, and it really came to be where like those 4 were part of something previously, loosely associated with each other, and then they wanted to create something new. Just like a couple people dropped out, a couple people like just moved on from the game. So at the time, I was really learning the game from somebody, one of my buddies, Eric, who's obviously on the team now, but they wanted to kind of make something official, and like we spent a lot of time together just playing, and we were like, you know what, let's just do it. It wasn't like a super popular thing on Long Island or anything, but we just really wanted to have like a core to kind of walk back to and really just point at and be like, okay, this is it. Like we didn't know anything. Like there wasn't like a blueprint we finished or followed. I'm sorry. It really was just a couple of us got together. We were like, you know what, we want to become better. A couple of them had tops previously, and they were like, we want to just go into the think tank, go into the hyperbolic time chamber. At other times too, it really just was like a social thing for not a while or anything like that. But during COVID, for example, like there was no competition really. It was just us like grinding games against each other. So having, again, like just the ability to be like, look, this is my dedicated play group. This is like the people I vibe with and whatnot. So it's just so easy to go to that group and be like, let's play, let's do this, let's do that. And being able to, for example, like you walking into an established team, obviously you want to like prove yourself. I feel like that was never an issue necessarily with us. Not an issue, but I don't want to phrase it that way. You know what I mean? Where it's not like nobody has
like something about you. It's not about the needing of the proof.
Yeah. So it's like
exactly.
I could walk in. Let me test this like super jank deck. Let me try to test like this, that, and obviously I test a lot. I do a lot of profiles. It's like the mainstay of this channel. I need people to test against. So having them at like odd hours and a bunch of different people, a bunch of different decks to kind of play against is always good. So that's been like the organic experience. It's definitely not as competitive. I feel like we're getting to that point where we're definitely trying to step it up a little bit more. I know a lot of our players are traveling. We had 2 players qualify for Worlds last year. The flight got canceled from New York. They were like, I'm not buying a $1,200 ticket the night of, so they didn't end up actually going. But the next couple months, there might be a couple changes, so we're definitely looking forward to the BCS season. But on the flip side, what about, I guess, like the established team, or like what really drew you to Kingslayer?
It's that play group, it's that friends. Yeah. The very thing about like the main thing that Kingslayer prides himself on, and you'll hear Richard and James talk about this extensively on the King's Court podcast, is like it's not so much as a team as it is a family. Like, so cool, like we're the recognized like people associated with the brand for Kingslayer, but I mean like everyone like comes to our events and everything. Like it's just very much so treated as a family. Like, you're here, what can we do for you, and things like that. And what I've really enjoyed about Kingslayer is like all the members like willingness to help players, like give very constructive feedback. Like I was being able to get like access to stuff, to things of like kind of like ideas of meta games and things like that, of what maybe shake up before I was on even as well. So I mean that was the thing that like attracted me. Like the main part though was like the friends, but it's just that whole like family aspect too, because I really like to provide for people and everything. I like having friends that are like family, so it's been very rewarding. But I guess I can talk about too kind of like the benefit for a team, like in terms of like trying to plan for meta games and things like that. I think it's very rewarding on the organized side, of where you have like these very seasoned and veteran players, or where like you can look at their sheet and they have like over like 32 tops in different like BCSs, BSFs, ARGs, KSC events, like crazy things like that. And being able to be like, okay, so they know how this game functionally works and how formats develop. We're able to look at cards and we're able to test at various multiple points and begin to figure out like what works. And the fact that you're able to put like so many heads together is very, very beneficial, because a lot of people look at the game very different way. Of course, every players have their specialties in clans. Like for mine's like Great Nature, for sure. I'm always trying to cope on that deck. But it's very fun. Like we are able to put our heads together, and I'm very thankful that our team's like large enough to where we are able to kind of have all the decks covered to an extent. But we're always like, everyone's trying to like lab on like CFA and tabletop. Like we're always like talking about like, it's like, yo, like who's up like 2 a.m. Like I want to test this deck. Like is Red Blue good next set or like next format? And like it's awesome.
Yeah,
so,
I mean that's kind of so invaluable, honestly, just having people that, like in my situation, I work a full-time job. I got a lot going on just in general in my life, and like I don't have as much time to like sit there and just like read through cards, brainstorm as much. And I obviously do, and like I build my own decks based on whatever I see, whatever I think. But just having those people who sit there and really dedicate their time, have like the wherewithal to like just brew and like tests and everything, like you getting that experience from them is like so invaluable. When you're in that think tank, when you're in that environment, like you're getting access to higher level players, or you've made yourselves better in general. You've just elevated the level of your play group. And I feel like that's putting a label on it, like obviously you could have a play group, but putting a label of like a team on it just makes you feel not obligated, but in a way kind of to like put that work in. Like do you want to add to the
Absolutely.
label, you want to like contribute something, and like you guys all should want to succeed together. And like that's something that's I feel like a little bit easier to accomplish. And especially like if you're, I'm turning 30 next month, like I'm older in my life, like I said, not as much time, especially if you're like me and you don't have as much time. Like these people, not to say they're doing the work for you, but like you're basically getting a Spark Notes version of the meta, any like rogue picks, any like weird kind of things. And you can offer your perspective too. Like you said, like, hey, I want to test this deck at like 2 a.m. or whatever. Like there are going to be people like me who offer like a rogue perspective, or like I'm not super plugged into this this Discord channel or whatever, this Twitter, Vanguard Twitter, where like I'm able to approach with a different point of view. And like honestly, our team that just won BSF Newark, like their third seat, I told him to play PBD. He wanted to, and I was just like, dude, do it. Like we tested a crap ton into like all the different decks, and like we got it to a point where like, okay, it's tuned to beat the meta decks or whatever. And it's like if you don't have somebody telling you that like, yeah, that's okay, this is a different perspective, like, I feel like you're losing something from the game. So that's another just advantage of having a team in general. What would you, I guess, to kind of move the topic, what would you say you need to like organically start a team? Like how did Crow kind of do it? I guess if that is, for your average, player just out there looking to start his own little thing, his or her own little thing, what would you, I guess, say?
Yeah, so I can speak on this a little bit in two ways. So like originally, for like Cincinnati, I just wanted to get like a bunch of friends together and like make an organic team myself. I was like, I'm tired of sitting here and being like I can only talk to my friends like 700 miles away, not get to play test with them as much because like CFA doesn't work on my computer, and
Oh yeah,
it
it's a
is what
pain.
it is. The struggles of Mac users. But it's just like I don't know. It's just like it was weird because like I wanted something more personally for myself, and I think that's what really like drew me to be like the yes man for Crow's Nest, and then be ecstatic when KSC called me up. Is I just always wanted something more to like really be associated with something, so that way I could put my time in and show what I've learned in my very few years of playing this game. I feel like I can play at like a very high level. So I guess to kind of like start a team, I think you really like the biggest thing is you need that passion like more
Yeah,
than anything else, like to play that game because I think the minute people start to feel like super disconnected like as a team that really starts with like at the game itself, and I feel like it's very important for your team to like be your support system in terms of the game to be like, hey, maybe if you're not feeling this and you're feeling burnt out, let's maybe try either like a different deck or we can take some time to like maybe step away like holy, but like we're just like making sure that your team is not so much like as focused on the game necessarily, but it's more they're focused on you as a person. I
yeah,
think is like is very huge, to be able to kind of like manage because again a team is a group of people like base level definition.
yeah,
So being able to manage people in general is like a huge asset and skill set of being able to start something organically. Is like, do you have the passion? Do you want to do it? And are you going to take care of your people? That's
yeah,
like the two big questions you got to ask yourself. And so Crow, of course, like has done it forever. I don't know necessarily the specifics of how he started Crow's Nest, but he's always had the Crow's Nest tournaments that he's put on in Georgia forever while he's been under the triple sleeve banner and while he's been under the
yeah.
KSC banner. Like, that's been his thing,
Big
and
shout
he
out to
needs
him
his
in
flowers.
general, man, because I feel like he's,
Yeah,
he's definitely a community
he's done
leader.
everything forever, man, and
You
he was a
talking about
he
passion.
was
I
a
mean,
double
that guy,
yeah
he
he was a double
started
credit he
all
was a
those
double credit away
things.
from world champion. Like
That's all
that's how
good.
much I respect that dude, and I'm convinced like he again shout out Crow, like you need your flowers, man. You've definitely put a lot of community on his back, and he told me like the whole reason like he wanted to build this team is like okay, like, and it was right after like he got like in position, like he qualified. He's like, all right, cool, I've made it. I'm gonna go to Worlds. I'm gonna lock in. He's like, I want to give back to the people.
Yeah,
And so like, and since I met him at the 2021 BSF in Duluth, um, that's where he got asked if he wanted to join KSC. So like we loosely like met, and so it was very rewarding for everybody like to advocate for me too, and being able like to start my channel for him to reach out to me. But
yeah, for sure.
it's being able to definitely like have that passion and being able to want to give back on other things is definitely a big part of how you start. Definitely that organized teams. You just have to have the itch for it, and you
Yeah.
have to be able to have some way to like continue it so that way it doesn't fall out. Because the biggest thing for me and like the biggest like sad thing for me is to see like communities and playgroups disappear across the United States, because then like everyone, like especially like on Facebook and things, have like this whole doomer notion like that the game is dying, when like in other places it's like, if like I wish like Vanguard could have a heat map, because like where
Yeah.
one place like becomes like no color, a new like red bubble begins to come
Yeah.
up. And that's like the cool thing. So just being able
That's
to
huge.
like,
Yeah.
again, just have that passion and being able just to have that spark is just huge to continue not only like this game, but to continue to like build a good like healthy life and just having a good social network and a hobby you enjoy.
Yeah, 100%. Like again, if you're solo dolo and you scroll on Twitter, or you just like Facebook, whatever it is, like if you didn't have your own group or whatever to kind of like bounce off of, like yeah, like you call it doom scrolling, it's 100% what it is. Like you would think that this, there's nobody plays this game or whatever it is. Like our locals, like New York, there's on Long Island and the city, there's like 4 or 5 different places, like super competitive. It's definitely a different environment than like Long Island. But Long Island, there's like 2, used to kind of be 3, but I think during COVID, 3 or 4, during COVID, 2 of them kind of switched off. But I mean, we consistently have like an 18 to like 25 man locals, like Tuesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, also at another place on Long Island. Huge shout out to Gotham City. That's our like home base store. It's weird. Like we're kind of affiliated, not in the same capacity that you guys are, but the shop owner is on our team. He's again like a plug, things like that. He helps us with cards, but I think that's another thing too, that a team will really keep you planted and just like rooted in the game, and like keep your interested, and like your hopes up in a way, because I don't think the game is dying. I really don't. I know a lot of people talk about V and whatnot.
I don't. I couldn't disagree more with like the whole entire notion that this game is dying. It's not growing at a rate where it looks like it's growing, but it's definitely very far from dying. And I think that instead of like knocking Bushiroad for like trying to have like this blow up expanse because of overdress, I really think we need to give them their flowers as an organization. Like, sure, they could do things better, like fix the promo problems and stuff, but like the fact that they've kept the TCG around for 10 years while we've always had like the big 3 living for so long is something like very, very huge to kind of talk about, because not a lot of TCGs make it 10 years. And so far it doesn't look like there's any signs of stoppage. So props to Bushiroad on that. Definitely want to give them that. If Bushi Matt or anybody is watching.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if YouTube likes the algorithms these days. My algorithm likes me these days, so we'll see who's watching. But cool. I think maybe another topic would be our YouTube journey or whatever, because I feel like we're similar in a lot of ways. But where you're going right now, it's definitely a solid trajectory. But maybe that's another video topic, because I think, how long is this going on for? I don't know. But anything else we want to kind of close with over here?
I just think too, just being able to talk about like, if you're unsure, like if you're willing to get to like, because a lot of people ask me like, how do you get on like these bigger organized teams? And I will say like straight up, I'm not one to lie or BS anybody. They reach out to you. There's no like real application process to become like a member of Triple Sleeve or KSC or any of the bigger. I use bigger loosely just because we have the stores and kind of like more national recognition because of shout outs from WCC players and things like that. But they reach out to you, but I want to definitely leave with how do you get better, or how do you kind of get into position to get on one of the larger teams? And it's kind of been like things we talked about the whole video, like, like wanting to grind, trying to get yourself in position to top, and various things like that. Just because, again, like your results show who you are as a player. And since you're on a team of a card game, you have to be a competent player and know what you're doing. But you can also bring other aspects to the team as well. So like another big talking point for my addition to KSC was like, okay, I've already had the association with helping Richard with his brand, with my YouTube channel. And so I've always had the promo code with them. But because of kind of my growth and my consistency, they're like, Devlin brings a media aspect to the team that sure, like we have our own YouTube page and everything, but like he will be able to like help us out with and like give more show to that and various things. So like for me, like not only am I consider myself an okay player, but people say I'm pretty good. not only am I a skilled player, but I also bring another aspect in terms of like my media presence and being like marketability and things like that.
Yep.
So there's definitely like various skill sets that people have that can bring to a team. It doesn't need to be like, oh, I need like 4 like BCS first place and then
Yeah.
I'm ready. Like
It's
no,
not
there's
just that.
definitely other
Yeah.
things
Not at all.
because I don't even have any official like Bushiroad like top 8s. I'm still hunting for mine, but
Yeah, me neither.
I got onto a team. So like is essentially like even like you can start it, but like definitely if you want to get to like a more organized team, just put in the work, find like different things you enjoy about this game. I mean, just again, like people really value passion and
Yeah.
and persistence. Like that's my big thing is I would love to end out on just to kind of give people hope that like if they want to take it to the next level, they definitely can.
Yeah, 100%. And like you can get into an established brands. I don't want people to walk away and think like, oh, that's the only way to do it. You can too just build your own. Like, not everybody's gonna get a call up from you guys or WCC or anything like that. So we just said, fuck it, let's do it one day. I'm gonna get demonetized now, but
I think it's still only in the first 7 seconds, and it's only once. We've been pretty good.
yeah, I think we're all right. But yeah, no, don't be afraid to start it yourself. Honestly, too, think of it like a major sports team. Bigger organizations poach from you start at the minors, whatever, you move up to the big leagues, as you were saying. So don't be afraid to kind of do it yourself, and yeah, get your tops, get your whatever. Like I think too, another thing that a lot of people lack in general. Like I'm not like a video guy at all. Like I don't know what the hell I'm doing half the time. I make these videos and whatnot, but I had to learn it all. Somebody who's like really good with video, who can do these kind of things. Again, an alternate skill set can like land you in the right spot and like really, not to say you're using each other, but it becomes a symbiotic kind of thing where you help them, they help you, and like that's kind of how it should be. Everybody should be helping each other out on a team. So if there's any video people out there, let me know. Not kidding, but yeah. But yeah, no, that was I think a really great discussion. I think it's good to see how a more established brand like your guys is compared to ours, and just the general gist of it. Like if you can, I would say join a team, start a team, do whatever you want. I feel like it's a really great environment. It's been a great experience for me so far too. And
Vanguard's a great game to do it in because we're now having a. I feel like because of the time we're beginning to have a little bit more of, especially with Overdress, more teams wanting to start. So
yeah.
Even if they're not established, start your own, be a trendsetter,
Yeah,
and who knows, maybe your team can turn into the size of KSC or Triple Sleeve or any of these other great, fantastic teams that we are looking forward to seeing at BCS this fall.
100%. Yeah, no, it's always cool to see like the shirts and everything. Be like, oh, those are those guys. I know those guys and stuff like that. So super cool. Awesome. Thank you guys, Devlin, so much. Again, if you guys haven't already, I'll link all the socials down in the description. Go subscribe to my boy over here. I don't know if by the time this posts if the giveaway is going to be done, but doing a box giveaway as well. So definitely a little bit incentive. Also, leave a like on this video if you did enjoy the content. Possibly consider subscribing to the channel. Definitely appreciate it. Also, any other closing thoughts?
Nope, that will do it. Make sure you subscribe to Alex and keep this content going because he's been instrumental. And since I was a guppy at like 80 subscribers, he engaged with me. So I really appreciate all the work he's done and that he's being able now to get back into the content grind. So make sure that you go support my boy as well.
Appreciate that, 100%. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Alex from Team Generations signing